Hi, I'm Dick Rodgers of the Common Good Party. I'm standing in the European election on the 22nd of May for the Common Good Party, which I formed because I believe in Europe. I believe that it's a good thing for Britain to be part of the team creating peace in Europe. And I don't hear anybody else saying that. I mean, the Conservatives say, yeah, they're pro-European and so on, and the Labour do, but they're pro-European on the basis of a sort of fine accountant's kind of calculation that we'll get more money out of it by being part of it than not being part of it. And they're divided. Each of those parties is divided over Europe, and UKIP, of course, wants us out of Europe, and I sympathise with the fears that they play to, but I don't think that's the right way forward. Creating peace in Europe is a good thing to do. Europe hasn't had enough peace over the last few generations, and it's great that there is the opportunity to create a peaceful community in Europe, and we should be an enthusiastic part of it as a nation. And I would love to have your support in standing and saying, yeah, let's be Europeans because we believe in it. Okay, there may be a few problems about how Europe does its business, but those are overcomeable. We should be part of the team and stop whinging all the time and be enthusiastic Europeans. Now, I'm also standing because I'm saying some crucial things which I don't hear any of the main parties saying. And here they are. Just think about these. You don't hear anything about these from the main parties. Nobody represents these views. One is that the banks have got to be sorted out. People have missed the fact that the banks create money. They just magic it into existence and then lend it out at interest. And it's a racket, quite honestly. It's unjust, and it's done terrible damage to the country. A lot of what's wrong with the country is because banks create money, and it should be the Bank of England creating the money as the money of the nation, owned by the nation, as an asset, rather than at the moment it's a debt to the banks. And it's like having a tapeworm inside you, sucking out all the goodness. That's the mischief that has been done. It's got to be put right. And if you can't understand it, I've got various things on the website which explain it. The second is the NHS is becoming too commercial. It mustn't be. I want to get it back to an Aaron Bevan's original vision. Modern technology, modern way of doing things, but it should have the original structure of being a public service, not a business. I want the railway renationalised as one organisation with the fares right down and the standards right up, really good infrastructure for doing our work and living our life as a country. We've got to get around the country. Students should not be charged tuition fees. The regions, Britain needs dividing up into a small number of regions so that they can retain some of the proceeds of the business of the community and reinvest it in really getting the infrastructure right and favouring businesses in our case the West Midlands. It's crazy that we have a whole hodgepodge of tiny little local authority areas. I want to continue to have them, but to have in addition an elected regional government of the West Midlands. We need the utilities, water, electricity and gas. They shouldn't be run by foreign companies, basically. The commercial companies, but most of them are based abroad. It's something we should do in-house. It's essential national infrastructure, and we should own it and run it and devise how to do it best. And lastly, as an example of things on the world scene, China. I want us to be friends with China. I think it's okay to buy goods from China. I do myself. But in doing so, we're endorsing some really bad things that the Chinese government does. The chief of which, well, two things really. One is they imprison a lot of people, particularly democracy activists. And the second is that they return people who flee from the appalling life and death situation in North Korea. They return them to the North Korean authorities. And some of them are executed on return. That's really bad, and I don't want us to just say nothing about that. We ought to be standing up to China and raising the human rights issues, but in a friendly and humble way. So look, I'm standing in this election. If I can get the £5,000 deposit, I have some savings, but I don't think it's right to dip into my savings for this. I would love it if people could help me raise the £5,000 deposit, which I might lose. And the other thing is that deposit enables a list of 12 people to stand for the things that I'm standing for, and I would love to have 11 people stand with me in this election. You could be active or not so active according to your wish. I need the right sort of people. I would be quite fussy about who I get. I want to be able to trust them. But it would be lovely to hear from you, particularly if you thought you might become one of those 11 people. I need to know before the 24th of April, because that's the deadline for nominations. Dick Rodgers, Common Good Party, European election, 22nd of May, and the deadline for nominations, the 24th of April. Thanks very much.